Order, Honorable Speaker.
Ubheka ilokhuzana laphana lokhu kune-voice.
Bula still.
Ushutha la. Shutha la. Kodwa futhi lokho leyo error leyo kumele uyivule usukhuluma ngoba isuke
Honorable Speaker, we now do have the quorum for the sitting to resume. Thank you very much. Honorable members, our IC team are currently assisting the Deputy Speaker with the connectivity. There is still a bit of a glitch in terms of him being able to be audible on our side. I shall be calling the order in a few minutes and we will then resume the sitting. Thank you. Okay. From tender parties as a Good morning, honorable members. Let us start by having a moment of silence or meditation. Thank you. We can then begin. Honorable members, let us take this moment to remember in our thoughts and prayers all those who have departed from us and since our last sitting, either due to natural causes or otherwise. Mbongeni Gibson Mbuyisa, Iso Lesilo of Wanobamba Traditional Council, who was gunned down near his business in the Ezibomvu area. Mr. Mbuyisa was also a member of the Zululand Local House of Traditional Leaders. Miss Gloria Bosman, the legendary jazz musician, who passed away peacefully at her home after a short illness. Mrs. Suzanne van der Walt, a senior language practitioner, Hansard and Language Services, who passed away on the 19th of March after a brief illness. Suzanne had served the legislature diligently for 15 years, and shortly before her passing, she translated the standing rules of the KwaZulu-Natal legislature into Afrikaans, gifting our institution with this lasting legacy. Suzanne leaves behind her husband, Leon, and daughter, Tanya. She will be clearly missed by all her colleagues and everyone who knew her. Langa Pegizita Kalis Erasmus Kaula, second son of the late Inkosi Cebekulu Kaula of Kwahlongwa, Mzumbe, and brother to the Honorable Mr. M. Kaula. Mr. Pule Tate, a prominent cadre who was known for being a mobilizer, organizer, and quite crucially, a straight talker who was a reservoir of political education, as evidenced during his time as a manager in the office of the executive mayor of the Fedile Dabi district municipality. Mr. Musa Mosi Mula, a revolutionary diplomat
a gallant fighter in numerous capacities. With the advent of democracy, Comrade Muller returned to South Africa to serve in the ANC Department of International Affairs. He was also a member of the delegation at CODESA. Mr. Tulantulu, Deputy Mayor of KwaDukuza Municipality, who also served as a treasurer for the General Kizenga Banza region on behalf of the African National Congress. All of the victims of gender-based violence, femicide, and other crimes, all public servants and traditional leaders of the province and the country at large, and all victims of road facilities in the province during the recent past. So let us now observe a moment of silence in honor of those who have gone before us. Thank you. We can proceed with our order paper. We'll move to the announcements. The announcements regarding the reason for the special sitting on this day of the 30th of March 2023, and absence of notices of bills or motions on the order paper. Honorable members, thank you for joining this visual special sitting that has been called for today. The reason for this sitting is to table and pass the 2022-23 second adjustment estimate for KwaZulu-Natal. The second adjustment appropriate bill 2023 must be tabled and passed before the end of the 2023 financial year. I trust this is in order. So the ruling on the visual sitting and announcements on party voting during this special sitting. Honorable members, as we are visually connected to the sitting, you are reminded that voting will be conducted in terms of standing rules. Party voting, Rule 288, Section 4 of the standing rules states that the presiding officer or the chairperson must, before or at the start of the discussion on the matters, expressly inform members if a party vote will be taken. In line with the above, I can confirm the following. 1, voting and adoption of the KwaZulu-Natal Second Appropriation Bill 2023. A party vote is a collective vote on behalf of the members of a party present at this visual sitting, up to the total membership of that party in the sitting. I will, however, allow an opportunity for any individual member to vote differently from his or her party or to abstain if any members wishes to do so. We will now proceed with the rest of the items on the order paper. On the apologies, honorable members, Mr. F.A. Rogers, Honorable Dr. I. Kikia, Honorables L.M. Mayer, and Honorable B. Singh have prior party commitments. On the members who are not well, Honorable G.N. Sorboy Ntombela and Honorable N.U. Kwanyana are reported to be not well, therefore we are tendering their apology. As we know, that we are in the holy month of Ramadan. We want to wish all members of our Muslim community well while they are in their holy month of Ramadan. Ramadan is remembered at the month in which the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, received the first of the revelation which make up the Holy Quran. On the pre-Easter prayer, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Mrs. Nomusa Dube and members of the Executive Council cordially invite members of the Provincial Legislature to the Easter prayer for the KwaZulu-Natal province, road accidents during Easter weekend, crime, eradication of social ills, peace and tolerance, which will be held on Sunday, the 2nd of April, 2023, starting at 11 o'clock at Dabamhlope Sport Field, Ward 9, Msunduze local municipality. We can now move to announcements or reports by the Premier. We can ask the Honorable Premier to make announcements if there are any.
Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members. Chairperson, Honorable Speaker, we do not have any announcement today. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Now we can move to the tabling of items on the order paper. The first one being the KwaZulu-Natal Legislature Budget Performance In-Year Monitoring Report for the month of February 2023. The second one, the Portfolio Committee on the Office of the Premier. Portfolio Committee on the Office of the Premier. Report on the KwaZulu-Natal Legislature Study Tour for the Kingdom of Norway and the Republic of Uganda between the 17th of September and 2nd of October 2022. Another one, the report on oversight visit to Parkside Premier's residence and Moses Mapida building. The report on Portfolio Committee on the Office of the Premier on oversight visit to Pongolo and Nongoma in the Zululand district. Report on the oversight visit to Amasumahle Forestry Enterprise and Atnot Internet Service Provider. On the Public Works, it's a report on oversight visit by the Portfolio Committee on Public Works to the J.G. Zuma High School in eThekwini Municipality on the 7th of April 2022. There is also a report on oversight visit by the Portfolio Committee on Public Works to Sipumelele Primary School on the 21st of June 2022, and the report on oversight visit by the Portfolio Committee on Public Works to Owen Sithole College of Agriculture. And moving on the Standing Committee on Public Account, it's a report on study tour by the KZN Standing Committee on Public Accounts to Singapore from 5 to 11 of September 2022. The Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, COGTA, which is a report on oversight visit to Dumbe Municipality, 20th of February 2021. And then there's a resolution of the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs taken during the Section 132 hearing on municipality, July to October 2022. Then we have the Finance Portfolio Committee Statutory Report, 9 to 19 of November 2022, United States of America, Washington, D.C., Boston, Massachusetts, and Michigan, Kalamazoo. The Finance Portfolio Committee 2022-23 first quarterly reports on financial and non-financial performance of the provincial treasury. The Finance Portfolio Committee 2022-23 report, second quarterly report on financial and non-financial performance of Provincial Treasury. The Finance Portfolio Committee 2023 quarterly report on financial and non-financial performance of Provincial Treasury. And the Finance Portfolio Committee 2022-23 Focus Intervention Study 1. And the Department of Human Settlement is a revised annual performance plan 2022-23 to 2024-25. And the Department of Finance consolidated financial statement for departments for the financial year ended 31st of March 2022. Department of Health is an annual performance plan 2023-24, which give us to the end of the tabling of reports. We can now move to item 6, which is the formal motions of notices by the Chief Whip. Chief Whip, is there any notice of motion on your part?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I must say that there are no formal motions and notices. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we can move to item 7, which is the orders of the day. The tabling of KwaZulu-Natal second adjustment appropriation bill by the MEC for Finance. MEC got 20 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker Boyce, Honorable Deputy Speaker Mthembu, Honorable Premier, Nomusa Dube Ncube, Leader of Government Business, Honorable Duma, members of the Provincial Executive Council, honorable members of the Provincial Legislature, Director General Dr. Mkhize, heads of departments, people of KwaZulu-Natal, distinguished guests, good morning to all of you. It is my honor today to table the second Adjustments Appropriation Bill 2023 in this House. I table this bill in 3 languages, namely in English, isiZulu, and Afrikaans. Together with the bill, I table an explanatory memorandum which explains the various amendments being made to the 2022-2023 budget. We also provide copies of 2 government gazettes issued by National Treasury. And the second Adjustments Appropriation Bill is being tabled in line with Section 31A and E of the PFMA, which provides for a province to table an adjustments budget in the event that funds have become available to the province, as well as the shifting of funds within and between votes. Honorable members will recall that we did table an adjustment budget for 2022-2023 in this House on the 24th of November 2022. There are amendments that have been made since then that require formalization by this House, and these amendments relate to the 2022-2023 financial year, and it is therefore imperative that this bill be tabled, debated, and voted on before the end of the financial year, that is before the 31st of March 2023, and would like to express our sincerest gratitude to the Provincial Legislature for affording us an opportunity in your busy schedule to accommodate this very important tabling. With regards to the adjustments to the 2022-2023 budget, we wish to indicate that the second adjustments budget provides for amendments as a result of National Treasury allocating funds to the province. There is also a minor reduction being made to the funds received from the AU with respect to the donation provided to respond to the April 2022 flood disaster. The province also undertook a provincial reprioritization exercise so as to move funding from votes that were not going to fully spend their budgets towards votes that are showing budget pressure. There are also a few virements made by departments that require legislature approval. In terms of Section 43 of the PFMA, I will explain all of these budget adjustments as followed, Honorable Speaker. With regards to allocations by the National Treasury, the province of KwaZulu-Natal is required in terms of government notices to table an adjusted adjustments appropriation bill for 2022-2023 referred to as the second adjustments appropriation bill 2023. Two government gazettes, that is Government Gazette number 47789 and number 48095, were published by National Treasury and signed off by the National Minister of Finance, Honorable Gotongwane, in terms of the Division of Revenue Act of 2022, Act number 5 of 2022, and provide information on adjustments to existing allocations to provinces in the 2022-2023 financial year. And these gazettes affect the allocation of Vote 7, which are Department of Health, and Vote 8, Department of Human Settlements. I provide further detail here. With regards to Government Gazette number 47789, which was issued in terms of Section 18 of the DORA of 2022, this gazette sees the stopping of funds from the National Health Insurance Grant in the Eastern Cape. In other words, there is an allocation now to KZN, which has been deducted from the budget or NHI grant budget from the Eastern Cape of 7.475 million rands, from the Free State 381,000 rands, from Limpopo 3.03 million rands, from the Northern Cape 4.019 million rands. Northwest 9.399 million, and Western Cape is allocated 8.641 million rands in compliance with Section 19, and these funds are allocated to KwaZulu-Natal. KwaZulu-Natal is actually receiving 19.366 million rands, and Gauteng 139,000 rands, and Mpumalanga 13.447 million rands. This brings the total for the NHI grant for Vote 7 Health in KwaZulu-Natal to 104.092 million rands. With regards to Government Gazette number 48095, which was issued in terms of Section 18, 19, and 25 of the DORA Act of the Division of Revenue Act of 2022, in compliance with Section 25, the National Department of Human Settlements allocated an amount of 16.368 million rands to KwaZulu-Natal from the unallocated Provincial Emergency Housing Grant with regards to Schedule 7, Part A. And this brings the total for this grant under Vote 8 Human Settlements in this province to 342 million rands, 0.132. Regarding the amendments to the African Union donor funding, when the 2022-2023 adjustment budget was tabled last year in November, donor funds received from the AU allocated to Vote 1 Office of the Premier, and the amount was 2.670 million rands. And according to an estimated rand-dollar exchange rate at the time. However, when the donor funds were received now physically in the provincial bank account in January 2023, the exchange rate had changed slightly, resulting in 2.496 million rands being received, which is 174,000 rand less than what was allocated. And as such, the donor funding allocation to Vote 1 Office of the Premier is therefore revised to 2.496 million rands. With regards to our own provincial prioritization, as indicated, Honorable Speaker, it was decided to undertake a provincial reprioritization exercise so as to reduce the risk of the province going to overdraft. A few departments have been showing budget pressures in the monthly in-year monitoring reports, and these pressures needed to be addressed. As such, each vote was showing budget pressure was engaged with in order to ask whether they could undertake internal reprioritization to offset some of budget pressures. After undertaking this exercise, they were to indicate what budget pressures remain. On the other hand, votes that were not showing budget pressures were asked whether they are in a position to surrender funds, which could be used to fund the remaining budget pressures in the other votes. The following votes are surrendering an aggregate amount of 378.887 million rands in the 2022-2023 second adjustment estimates. With regards to vote 4, economic development, tourism, and environmental affairs, they are surrendering an amount of 95 million rands towards the provincial reprioritization exercise. And the funds are available for surrender due to enforced savings against various items such as venues and facilities, delays in the implementation of various projects, delays in filling of posts, as well as delays in the procurement of equipment. Regarding vote 6, provincial treasury, the provincial treasury is able to surrender an amount of 47 million rands towards the provincial reprioritization exercise. The funds are available for surrender due to delays in filling vacant posts, savings realized from SNT, delayed CETA procurement processes, as well as training and communication costs. Regarding vote 10, sport, arts and culture, that department is able to surrender an amount of 36.887 million rands towards the provincial reprioritization exercise. The funds are available for surrender due to delays in the implementation of sport infrastructure projects by various municipalities. Regarding vote 12, transport, this department is able to surrender an amount of 200 million rands towards the provincial reprioritization exercise. The funds are available for surrender due to current slow spending on various road rehabilitation projects related to the April 2022 floods, for which the department had undertaken internal reprioritization. The departments showing budget pressures received the 378.887 million rands as follows. Vote 5, which is the Department of Education, indicated budget pressures of 635.154 million rands in the February 2023 IYM, while noting that they can undertake internal reprioritization of 25.224 million rands and can reasonably defer 214.592 million rands of their expenditure to 2023-2024 financial year. This means that 395.338 million remains as projected over expenditure, and the province is in a position to allocate 240.925 million rands towards this budget pressure. Regarding social development, this department indicated budget pressures of 76.679 million rands in their submission, and the department indicated that it will defer some payments to 2023-2024, though this will place significant pressure on the budget in that year, as the 2021-2022 MTF budget cuts were significantly higher in 2023-2024 when compared to 2022-2023 financial year. The areas that the department is likely to defer expenditure to 2023-2024 are various infrastructure projects amounting to 7.712 million rands, as well as machinery and equipment amounting to 10 million rands. And the budget pressure remaining after providing for certain payments and deferring some expenditure to 2023-2024 is 61.073 million rands, and the province is in a position to allocate 37.065 million rands towards this budget pressure. With regards to Vote 14 Public Works, this department indicated that the budget pressures with respect to property rates amount to 290.544 million rands, with this pressure being mainly due to higher than anticipated tariff increases in the market values of properties by certain municipalities in their implementation of the new general evaluation role as at the 1st of July 2021. As well as an underfunded baseline. The province is in a position to allocate 100.897 million rands towards this pressure, and the balance of the budget pressure will be deferred to the financial year 2023-2024. The department has also undertaken further reprioritization of around 25 million rands towards this pressure, and this will reduce to the amount to be deferred to next year, and this is anticipated to be considered for additional funding in the 2023-2024 adjustment estimates. With regards to environments requiring legislature approval, Honorable Speaker, we wish to indicate that in addition to the amendments already mentioned, certain departments are required to amend their budgets, and as some of these require legislature approval, they are highlighted in the explanatory memorandum to the second adjustment estimate. Legislature approval is required for various environments in terms of Section 43(4) of the PFMA. Provincial Treasury has analyzed these environments and are in support of them, while noting that the approval of these environments rests with this House. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, the second adjustments Appropriation Bill 2023 highlights the effects of all changes made in grey shading in the schedule to the bill. This bill, once adopted, allows for these changes to be made to the budgets of the affected votes. While we acknowledge that the provincial reprioritization exercise does not fully cover the budget pressures shown by the various votes, we do believe that we were able to reduce the fiscal risk significantly. We are confident that with these budget adjustments and the anticipated provincial owned revenue over collection, that we should be able to end the year without going into a significant deficit. We look forward to briefing the Finance Portfolio Committee and other committees on these proposed amendments. And once again, would like to express our sincerest gratitude that we're able to table this important bill before the end of the financial year. Honourable Speaker, we thank you very much. Siyabonga.
Thank you, Honourable MEC, for tabling. I will now refer the bill and its accompanying documentation to the Finance Portfolio Committee and to Staff Corp for processing. And for processing to take place, I'm now suspending the House until 10 a.m. The House is adjourned, and other members will reconvene at 10 hours sharp.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Colleagues from the different political parties who are members of the Finance Portfolio Committee, we also wanted to check if our leaders...
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
You can't hear me.
You are quite soft.
We don't have the portfolio committee now.
Yes, please. That's what we want to do.
Exactly the same.
Time is limited.
Tanya did so well. We flip a coin.
You can't hear me, Maggie.
I can hear you very softly.
Hey, that's the problem of working at home. That's my frustration.
You are fine now.
Oh,
Maggie, touch your speaker, Maggie.
Colleagues, I want to check if the members of the Finance Portfolio Committee and Stakov have joined the meeting. On the members
yes, Honorable
of the
Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Rajbansi. Now you have counted in. Honorable Governor is here. I want to check if Honorable CQ Madlopa is here.
Yes, Chair, I'm present.
Oh, I'm checking the quorum, I want to check if my advocate, the Honorable de Klerk, is here. I also want to check if my leader, Honorable Hlabisa, is part of the meeting.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. I'm part of the meeting.
Thank you very much, my leader. Was that one who acted to speak before Honorable Hlabisa is Honorable de Klerk?
Honorable Kaur, on behalf of Honorable de Klerk.
Thank you very much, the new Honorable de Klerk. I want to check if Honorable Mchali is here.
Yes, Chair, Honorable Mchali is present.
Thank you very much. I want to check if Honorable Ngobane is here. I was told EFF deployed him to the Finance Portfolio Committee.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I'm here.
Thank you very much, Mbomvu. Honorable Nkosi is here. I want to check if Honorable Zulu M is here, MA. I don't have a response from him. I want to check if Honorable PRZ Zulu is here. I don't get the response, but there are network problems that might be found there. I was told that Honorable Rogers is not here. I want to check if he is substituted like Honorable de Klerk.
Good morning, Chair. Oh, okay.
Chairperson, this is Honourable Raba. I am sitting in for Honourable Rogers today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Rabe. You are now coming to the Finance Portfolio Committee, I can see. You are starting to come in slowly. Thank you very much, Honourable Rabe. I hope I have checked with everyone. Honourable members, I was just checking if the meeting is correct in terms of the rules of the legislature, and I'm convinced that the meeting is correct. Want to open this meeting and welcome all the honourable members of the Finance Portfolio Committee, the honourable members of the Standing Committee on Oversight, Stakov. I also want to welcome the MEC for Finance in KZN, who has just presented the second adjustment budget 2023. We want to welcome all the officials of the Provincial Treasury led by the HOD. I've seen them, they are part of the meeting, and all the officials of the legislature who are part of this meeting. Want to move to the apologies. We received an apology on Honorable Rogers, who was indicated by the Speaker. As you know, he is substituted by Honorable Rabe. Thank you very much. So we want to move to the constitution of the meeting. As I was checking one by one, the meeting is fully correct. then want to move to the adoption of the agenda. On the adoption of the agenda, we have got 3 items or 4 items. The first one is briefing on the provincial treasury on the bill that has just been tabled. The second item will be the adoption of the Standing Committee on Oversight report on the second adjustment. And then there will be also the adoption of the Finance Portfolio Committee report on the second adjustment. I am also told that there's an adoption of the Finance Portfolio Committee 2023-2024 annual oversight plan, and that one was adopted, and there's no need to include it in our agenda. So there are 3 items. That is the processing through the briefing by Treasury on the appropriation bill has just been tabled, and then the adoption of the Standing Committee on Oversight report. I will allow the chairperson, Honorable Xulu, to preside over that process, and then there will be the adoption of the Finance Portfolio Committee report. Now we're moving to the adoption of the agenda with these 3 items. We want to check who is moving for the adoption of this report. Please shout because my fan function is giving me problems.
Honorable Chair, it's CQ Madlopa. I want to move the adoption of the agenda as amended by the Chair. And also I saw the hand Chair of Mr. Nzuza as well as governed up when you were dealing with that. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I go to Honorable Governor first?
Thanks, Chair. I second the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you very much. I have seen this hand of Spamandla Chili. What was it that the secretary of our committee wanted to say?
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to alert you to Mr. Nzuza's hand, Chair. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. Mshazi, your hand, I was told, is up. I can't see it in my gadget.
I was requesting that we also do the roll call of the membership of STACOF so that as we continue, because it's a joint meeting, we have accounted for both committees. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, can I be assisted because I can't see them on my on my site? Fortunately, I developed the report, the list of the Finance Portfolio Committee because I know all of them. Can I be assisted by Kabashe around the question of the members of the Standing Committee on Oversight that are present, or Mshazi, you assist me if your gadget allows that?
Thank you, Chair. From STACOF, it's the Chairperson, Honorable Tulu, the Chief Whip, Honorable Ngumalo, the Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Kaluza, the Whip, Honorable J.N. Tsele, Honorable N. Ndombela, Honorable N.P.F. Mavuso, Honorable M.B. Gwala, Honorable O.B. Kunene, Honorable I. Kika, Honorable H. Kiliza, and Honorable M.E. Pagati. Those are the members of STACOF, Chairperson. I think the Chair can now get an indication for their availability.
Can I be assisted in order to save time as to whether these honorable members are here?
Present. Honorable
Yes,
Chair,
Honorable
Chair, Honorable NPF Mavuso is in attendance.
Thank you very much, Mhlolo Mkhulu.
Slalo Pagat is present.
Thank you very much, Fundisi.
Honorable Xulu is also present, Slalo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Slalo. You are refusing to take your role. You will pay me for the overtime as a former trade unionist.
Honorable Chairperson James Nomalo is part of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Mkajwa. VP Taluza, are you here, ma'am?
I'm in the meeting, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Mahlobo, are you here? Not here. Mhlonishwa Gwala, are you here, my leader? Honorable O.B. Gunene, the former MM, are you here? Yeah, but I counted 6 that are present, Kapasha. Okay. When you'll be dealing with your own party, your meeting is correct. Is that O.B. Gunene? Oh, I thought it was O.B. Someone wanted to say something, but your meeting is correct as well. I see 2 hands, but
I am attending the meeting visually, Chairperson.
Oh, good, local MP. Voila.
Do you hear, Chairperson?
Yes, I hear you, my lead. I hear you clearly. Oh, I know, I can see you, my lead. There was a lady voice.
Yes, Chairperson, it's Honourable Raba. I'm also standing in for Honourable Kika on the Stakeoff Committee.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there was an apology for Honourable Kika. Colleagues, can we continue with our meeting? As we have realized that the meeting is correct in all respects, we are now inviting the Provincial Treasury to take us through the presentation of the bill, of this bill, and in a very summarized version, and it is very fresh in my mind. Can we be taken through, Honorable MEC and your team?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. In order, let me greet all honorable members in this meeting. In order for me to save time, Honorable Chairperson, may we request Tanya to take the meeting through. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Tanya, you have been requested by your MEC.
Thank you, and good morning to all honourable members in this meeting. I will share the presentation now. If you can just let me know if you can see it.
Still waiting for it, Tanya. It has come through. Thank you very much.
Great. I'm just going to put it into slide mode. Okay, thank you. So the presentation outline is we are going to explain to the committees the amendments that are being proposed in the second adjustments allocation. First of all, we're going to look at the amendments made to our KZN allocation by National Treasury. Secondly, there is a provincial reprioritisation which we would like to take you through. There are other adjustments, just 2 of those. I will take you through those. And then there are also environments requiring legislature approval. Those were not covered in detail in the speech, but I will go into some detail in this presentation, and the detail is also provided in the explanatory memorandum that was distributed to the House this morning. So with respect to the changes being made to KZN's allocation by National Treasury, as MEC indicated in her speech, there are 2 government gazettes that were issued by National Treasury, Government Gazette number 47789 and 48095. They were published by National Treasury in terms of the Division of Revenue Act, or DORA, and they make adjustments to our budget. And that really initiated the process of us requesting a tabling date with the provincial legislature. So the 2 government notices are detailed here. It's Government Gazette number 47789. It was published on the 23rd of December. What it does is it sees the stopping of funding under the National Health Insurance Grant from some provinces, with this money being allocated to various other provinces. For us, it's good news. We receive funding in this instance. The provinces that lose money is the Eastern Cape. The NHI grant reduces by 7.475 million. The Free State by 381,000, Limpopo by 3.037 million. The Northern Cape reduces by 4.019, Northwest by 9.399 million, and the Western Cape loses 8.641 million. In terms of Section 19 of DORA, these funds are then reallocated to other provinces. We get the lion's share of it, so the largest amount goes to KZN. We received 19.366 million. Gauteng receives 139,000, and Mpumalanga receives 13.447 million. So for us in KZN, the NHI grant under Vote 7 Health, with this increase, then amounts to 104.092 million. The second government gazette that National Treasury issued was Gazette number 48095, was published on the 21st of February. It also sees the allocation of funding to the province, and specifically it was the National Department of Human Settlements who allocated 16.368 million to the Provincial Emergency Housing Grant. So members will recall that when we tabled the adjustments in November last year, we'd already received 325 million for this grant, and it related to the April 2022 flood disaster response. With this 16.368 million, that grant total now amounts to 342.132 million. In terms of the provincial reprioritisation exercise, with the opportunity presented by the government gazettes being issued, we were able then to also look at a provincial reprioritisation in the second adjustments. So with this, we've decided to formalise shifts of funding between votes in what we call a provincial reprioritisation exercise to try and eliminate some of the spending pressures that we've seen over the last few months in some of the votes. So it is done to lower the likelihood of the province going into overdraft at year end. So that was the main focus of this exercise. A budget lekgotla was held in February 2023 to look at the spending pressures and then also the other spending trends of departments who were showing underspending, to just understand where the province stood financially at that time. We then also followed that up with correspondence issued by the MEC for Finance to all members of the Provincial Executive Council. So each vote was engaged with to ask whether they are in a position to surrender funds towards the budget pressures shown by some departments. And then for those votes who were showing budget pressure, we also asked them to indicate what steps they're taking to remain within budget. So by this, we mean, like, have they undertaken internal reprioritisation to try and minimise the pressure that they are showing at year end? What we determined then in this exercise is that there were a few departments that were able to surrender funds. And in aggregate, the amount is 378.887 million. It has to be highlighted that this is a voluntary surrender, with none of the departments were forced to surrender funding. It was because they had slower than anticipated spending in various areas, so they were able to surrender the funds without it being necessarily stopped on purpose, any project stopped on purpose. That didn't happen. It was where projects were already either halted or there were delays in filling posts. It's those kinds of savings we looked at. So for Vote 4, Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, they were able to surrender 95 million towards the provincial reprioritisation exercise. And the funds are available for surrender because of enforced savings against various items. So it's more from a cost-cutting point of view against venues and facilities. Also delays in the implementation of various projects, delays in filling posts, and also delays in the procurement of equipment. Provincial Treasury is also a department that was able to surrender funding. 47 million is the amount that they've surrendered. The funds are available for surrender due to delays in filling posts, savings realised from S&T, delays in CTEC procurement processes, and also savings against training and communication costs. Vote 10, Sport, Arts and Culture, they're able to surrender 36.887 million towards this provincial reprioritisation exercise. Funds are available for surrender due to delays in the implementation of sport infrastructure projects by various municipalities. Vote 12, Transport, is able to surrender 200 million rand towards the provincial reprioritisation exercise. The funds are available for surrender due to current slow spending on various road rehabilitation projects related to the April 2022 floods, for which the department had undertaken internal reprioritisation. So this is not money that came from national. It's their own budget that they'd reprioritised to these road projects that they have not been able to spend by year end. We then looked at how we can allocate the 378.887 million to the department showing spending pressure. So first of all, we'll start with education. They indicated budget pressures of 635.154 million in the latest IYM, which is the February IYM, which was submitted to Treasury about 2 weeks ago, while noting that they can undertake internal reprioritization of 25.224 million. So that's further reprioritization they're undertaking. And they also feel they can reasonably defer 214.592 million of the expenditure to 23-24. So this means they still sit with a budget pressure of 395.338 million. And then in this provincial reprioritization exercise, it's 240.925 million that's going to be allocated to education in the budget process today. Vote 7, health. They've shown budget pressure also. The amount is 614.182 million shown in the February IYM. They indicated that they've already started effecting savings from around December 2022 to date to try and rein in on their spending pressure, and were able to identify savings of around 442 million as a result of that exercise, which has brought their spending pressure to the 614.182 million, whereas it's been showing in excess of $1 billion in previous months. We then engaged with them on the 614.182 million, and they are comfortable to defer this expenditure to 23-24. And so they've undertaken to not overspend their vote if they do this. We were then, of course, a little bit concerned that they're pushing too many accruals into the new financial year, but we looked at it with them. And we can see that with the 614 million they're accruing to 23-24, their total accruals then amount to 1.3 billion, which is actually lower than the amount of accruals they carried into the current financial year, which stood at 1.485 billion. So we feel the plan is quite reasonable. For vote 13, social development, they've indicated budget pressures of 76 million when they provided their submission to us in this exercise. And they indicated that they could defer some payments to 23-24, though they do note this will place significant pressure on their budget in that year because the 21-22 MTF budget cuts are significantly higher in 23-24 when compared to 22-23. So the areas they are likely to defer expenditure to next year are against infrastructure projects, 7.7 million, and machinery and equipment, 10 million. So after they've deferred that, the expenditure pressure is 61 million. In this provincial reprioritization exercise, it was then decided to allocate 37.065 million towards that budget pressure. For vote 14, public works, they've indicated budget pressures with respect to property rates in the amount of 290.544 million. This pressure is mainly due to tariff increases and also because their baseline is underfunded. We've been hoping to right-size the baseline for quite some time, but just with the budget cuts the province has had, we haven't gotten there yet. But it's definitely part of the plan as soon as we are able to do so. In the interim, though, for this year, it's proposed to allocate 100.897 million towards this pressure, and the balance of the budget pressure will be deferred to 23-24. The next slide. Sorry. Apparently I have a light shining on me, so I'm just going to try and move and see if that helps. Is that better? Okay.
Very clear, very clear.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm just moving again. I'll just give me a second. Okay. Is that better? Yeah. Right. I'm at a podium now. So right. So this slide then is just a more visual representation of what I've just taken you through. So the top pink shaded blocks show the budget allocation to the departments who are showing budget pressure. So you can see education had a budget pressure of 395 million after the reprioritization and deferring payments. We're allocating 240 million. And then similarly for social development and public works, you can see the amounts that are being allocated there. The bottom set of pink shaded numbers, they then indicate the amounts that were being surrendered by the specific votes. What we're saying here as well, though, is that we acknowledge that the provincial reprioritization exercise doesn't fully cover the budget pressures, but we obviously think that we are able to reduce the fiscal risk significantly, both by allocating these funds and some payments being deferred into the new financial year. We are confident that with these budget adjustments and the anticipated provincial own revenue over collection, that we should be able to end the year without going into a significant deficit, which was really the aim of this exercise. The one was is as a result of the AU donor funding that we received and was already appropriated to vote one office of the Premier in the adjustments in November. As MEC indicated in her speech, we received notification by the AU around November that they were going to donate $150,000 to the province. We then used the rand-dollar exchange rate as at November to calculate the amount that we anticipate receiving, and 2.670 million was allocated to Office of the Premier at the time. When the donor funds were actually received into the provincial bank account, it was a few months later. It was in January. The exchange rate had changed. And so what we actually received was 2.496 million, which is 174,000 rand less than what we had allocated. So it's just a technical adjustments to fall in line with the amount actually received. The other change that's being made to Vote 1 Office of the Premier, they've requested to suspend 30 million from their 22-23 budget, and these funds are to be allocated back to them in 23-24, and it's to implement the broadband project in the province as announced by the Premier in SOPA. We're now going to the more technical part of this presentation, which is around the environments that require legislature approval. As members will know, the PFMA permits certain environments to be approved by the accounting officer. Treasury Regulation 6.3.1 allows Treasury to approve certain environments. And then Section 43.4 of the PFMA determines that some environments, if they are going to be undertaken, can be undertaken, but only with approval of the provincial legislature. And that's done in tabling and adjustments budget. We have reviewed all these environments as provincial treasury, and we feel comfortable with them. But of course, it is in your ambit whether to approve them or not. We'll start with the first one, agriculture and rural development. This is not directly linked to the reprioritization exercise that I spoke about earlier on. This was a request made by the department to Provincial Treasury at this time when they submitted their inputs into the provincial reprioritization exercise to us, and they indicated that they have had to make a revision to the Comprehensive Agricultural Support Program grant business plan since the 22-23 adjustments estimate was tabled. So there were changes that happened since November that have required them to amend their business plan. They've submitted the revised business plan to the National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, and this was approved by them on the 14th of March. So in order to effect that change to the business plan, it does require a small change to not the grant total, but just to which economic classification the amounts are allocated to. So the revision was required due to slow progress in various infrastructure projects related to the agricultural colleges due to non-performance by the contractor. So some of the infrastructure projects weren't progressing because the contractor appointed wasn't performing as quickly as had been anticipated. So there were savings against those projects in the current year. So what the department wishes to do is to decrease the allocation under Programme 2 Agriculture against buildings and other fixed structures by 7.449 million, and to reallocate the funds to goods and services 4.4 million and to machinery and equipment 2.9 million. The funds will still be used for agricultural colleges, so the greater purpose hasn't changed, but they will be used instead of for those infrastructure projects. They will use it for purchasing farming supplies such as fertilizer, animal feed, seeds for the colleges, as well as equipment such as computers, irrigation equipment, tractors, and implements also for the agricultural colleges. This results in a net reduction in capital, and therefore this requires legislature approval in terms of Section 43.4C of the PFMA. The next environment relates to Vote 5 education, and it is the amount that I spoke about when I said earlier on that they had done internal reprioritization of around 25 million to try and offset their budget pressures. And so the detail of that environment is captured here. They have asked to reduce the budget against transfers and subsidies to non-profit institutions in Programme 2, which is public ordinary school education, 20 million, against Programme 3, independent school subsidies, 2.5 million, and Programme 5 ECD 210,000. So all of this relates to transfers set aside for what they call non-gazetted schools. And what this means is that, or it's a non-gazetted transfer, so to speak. So there's no school out there that they're cutting back on. They always keep an amount aside for, in case there are quintile contestations during the year, then they're able to move money to top up a particular school who's won that quintile contestation. So in this instance, this money was not necessary and not utilized, so they are then asking to move it to offset spending pressures in other areas. So where they want to move it to, it's Programme 2, 22 million to offset budget pressures from staff exit costs, and to Programme 5, small amount of 210,000 for pressures and compensation of employees. The reduction in transfers does require legislature approval in terms of Section 43(4)(b). As I said, it's noted that the reduction is against an amount that was not allocated for any specific school, but was held in reserve in case there were quintile contestations. So the next one then, the department is also reducing funding that was specifically and exclusively allocated under Programme 1 administration for filling infrastructure posts. There was some underspending in this regard, and the department therefore requested that these savings of 6.8 million be used to offset budget pressures in the same program, the same economic classification. The reason it's coming to this to the House is that it's a reduction in specifically and exclusively allocated funds. Because the posts are vacant, it does make sense to allow them to move the money to address spending pressures. So for this vote then, finally, the department is also shifting 12.860 million, and that's from transfers and subsidies to non-profit institutions in Programme 2 to goods and services in the same program. And that's where the department made payments for domestic accounts such as water and electricity on behalf of schools. So in this instance, they are reducing the transfer to a specific school, but that's purely because they've already paid some of the bills for them. So it's a shifting of funds, and it doesn't necessarily require legislature approval, but we wanted to highlight it here. For vote 10, sport, arts and culture, they requested as part of the provincial reprioritization exercise to reduce transfers and subsidies to provinces and municipalities by 16 million rand. And this was with respect to transfers to various municipalities relating to sport infrastructure. The department undertook an exercise of reconciling transfers made to date against actual construction milestones achieved by the municipalities, and then stopped transfers to certain municipalities where they could see progress or the milestones hadn't been achieved yet. They have undertaken to resume those transfers when progress has improved, and will then do so in 23-24. They want to move the funds to Programme 4, Sport and Recreation, to buildings and other fixed structures under Programme 2, Cultural Affairs, towards the renovation of the Winston Churchill Theatre. So this project has been ongoing for a while. There have been some hiccups along the way, but the department reports that spending has really improved significantly in the current financial year, and thus requires 16 million to be moved to pay those invoices for work undertaken. The reduction in transfers requires legislature approval in terms of Section 43(4)(b) of the PFMA. Vote 13, social development. They also undertook reprioritization as part of the provincial reprioritization exercise. They indicated that to offset some of the spending pressures that remain, even after the additional funding was allocated to them, that there were areas where they've identified savings internally and require these to be moved to their spending pressures. Most of the budget pressures for this department, as I'm sure most of us are aware, is from property payments and mainly from higher than budgeted security contracts. Savings were identified in various economic classifications, while the net reduction of 822,000 against transfers and subsidies to non-profit institutions requires legislature approval, and so does a net reduction of 13.957 million against capital. Also, as the transfers to non-profit institutions are also specifically and exclusively allocated, this also requires legislature approval. There are two that I need to highlight to the committee. The net reduction in transfers is a result of lower than anticipated claims against Programme 2 social welfare services. So the transfers under this program are demand driven, and they had lower than anticipated demand of around 8 million rand. The bulk of the funding moved within transfers to offset pressures in Programme 3, children and families, who received 3.6 million from this, and Programme 4, restorative services, where 4.473 million is allocated. It's just 822,000 that's moving out of the transfers category to goods and services to offset budget pressures from property payments. The reduction in capital is mainly against machinery and equipment, which they've reduced by 19.7 million, with some funds remaining in capital, but allocated against buildings and other fixed structures. So they're moving money from machinery and allocating it to buildings, 5.8 million. The balance was then allocated to goods and services. So they're moving 13.9 million out of machinery and equipment towards their budget pressures and goods and services from the security contracts. This movement requires legislature approval. The savings identified against machinery and equipment were largely due to enforced savings and the non-purchase of vehicles and tools of trade to remain within budget. On the last slide now, Vote 14 Public Works has also undertaken some internal reprioritization to try and manage some of the spending pressure. So for this department, they see a reduction in specifically and exclusively allocated funds to offset budget pressures in the payment of property rates. As such, the movement is within Programme 2, which is property management, and it's from the budget for condition assessments, where they anticipate to underspend by 22.372 million, and for the fixed asset register project, where they anticipate to underspend by 2.139 million. Both these projects are budgeted for under goods and services. These projects were delayed in that the condition assessment project has had several appeals lodged against the award of the tender, and this is currently being attended to by the Bid Appeals Tribunal. So they will only be spending on this project once the Appeals Tribunal has ruled on the matter. With the fixed asset register project, that was delayed as there were delays in signing technical documents, but also in the main a loss of key staff within the team of the service provider. So the service provider had some challenges in rolling out this project. These funds are allocated to transfers and subsidies to provinces and municipalities, and that's to offset the budget pressures against property rates. Because it's a reduction in specifically and exclusively allocated funds, it requires legislature approval in terms of Section 43(4)(a) of the PFMA. Thank you, Chair. That brings me to the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for such a clear presentation that you have made to us. I hope, honorable members, so that they don't get confused. Tanya has covered in the main 3 issues. That is the money that is coming into KwaZulu-Natal in the form of 2 conditional grants as presented by the MEC in the morning. And then she has covered the second thing, she has covered the movements of funds and reprioritization that is moving between votes, as she was mentioning a number of votes. If my memory serves me correctly, there were 4 votes in question. And then she also covered the issues of environments that require the legislature approval. That's what she covered. That is the thing that I wanted to highlight for all of us. And secondly, it is very, very important for us to understand that all these amendments and additions don't affect vote number 2, which is the provincial legislature. The third thing that we need to be clear about is that all these presentations that Tanya went to town about, complementing what the MEC presented in the morning, are permissible by the PFMA. That's why she was quoting even the specific sections and subsections of the PFMA. To us who are members of the Finance Portfolio Committee, We have just finished the budget hearings this week on Tuesday. We all know about these pressures as we're engaging the departments for the budget of the year that is going to start after tomorrow. So we're familiar. It's addressing some of those and all the stuff. So, honorable members, I wanted just to summarize that picture for all of us so that we understand. But what we need to do now is to allow honorable members, both of the STACOV and the Finance Portfolio Committee, to pose questions for clarity and the comments if there are any. Shout, honorable members, if you are, if I can't see your hand function. Is there anyone who wants to comment on this presentation, or is still as fresh as it is to this old man called KK Nkosi? Engathi ukuthula ukuvuma. Can you speak, honorable member? Kwaze khuluma ingane manje.
Honorable Nkosi, yes, we do agree, and also that there is no allocation for e-legislature, so we do agree with you. Thank you.
Honorable Chair.
Kukhalingana Nyamalalo Sihlalo.
Ukati ingane noSihlalo. Ngoba ukhona-ke Xabhashi kulo mcimbi.
Yes, I think let's proceed, Sihlalo. Thanks.
Yes. I think
time is not on our side, honorable members. The speaker wants us back, and then we are behind time.
No, we want to accept the presentation, Chair. I think really they have done well because they have covered the challenges, especially those departments that have got budget pressures. So we really appreciate, Chair, the presentation. Thanks.
Thank you very much, honorable member. Mshazi, I will request that the speaker should understand that she might have stuck to the original minutes, but the time was disrupted when there was connection problems between himself and ourselves. So that would be the problem in case we don't make 10 o'clock. But now I want to come, will be followed by Xabhashi when I finish the Finance Portfolio Committee, to check as to whether each member of the Finance Portfolio Committee is supporting this budget. So I want to start with Honorable Governor. Are you supporting this bill, Honorable Member?
Yes, I support the bill, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I want to check with my leader, Honorable Hlabisa, if he supports this bill.
Yes, Honorable Chair, I support the bill.
Thank you very much, Mholwami. I want to come to the new declare, Honorable Kaulu Tishomkulu.
Angithokoze Mphazima cha munye umholi nje wa-AFP usekhulumile manje angazi ukuthi ufuna ngithini ke mina.
Hayi cha kunjalo mfowethu, ufuna ngakhuluma bese khulumile umholi, yikho ngiqale ngaye ngakuyeka ngabomu ukuze ngibone ukuthi unamagundane. Cha kawunawo mfowethu. Honorable CQ Madlopa, can I check with you if you support this bill?
Yes, Chair, I support.
Oh, bese ngithi khali ingane wabaleka mfowethu. Honorable Hlabangane Mtshali, do you support this bill?
Yes, Chair, I support the bill.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mbomvu Ngubane, do you support this bill, my leader?
Yes, Honorable Chair, we cautiously support the bill.
No, trust me, young man. Your caution, that's fine. But trust me, my interpretation is always correct. Honorable Nkosi, the old man, supports this bill. I want to check with Honorable M.A. Zulu, ended up joining because had a problem with the link. Makeba, are you supporting this bill?
Yes, Chairperson, I'm supporting the bill.
That is
The big town, of the big city.
Thank you very much, Makeba. I know you are there. There is no network in the Western Cape. Honorable Zulu PRZ, do you support the bill, madam?
I support the bill. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Honorable Rabe, do you support the bill, madam?
Yes, Chair, I support the bill.
Thank you very much. Honorable Rajpanse, do you support the bill, madam?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I support this bill.
Thank you very much. I've gone through all the members of the Finance Portfolio Committee. Kabasha, I want you to check with your own members as to whether they are supporting the bill. I don't have the list on my side. Can I hand over to you?
Thank you, Chairperson. Without wasting time, Starkov, I support the bill. And members, can I hand it over to you just to also to record your support? Thank you.
Person on
Honorable Mavuso.
Chairperson, I support the bill.
Honorable
Can
Chairperson.
members of the Starkov indicate, please?
Honorable Chairpersons, my name is James Ngumalo. I do support the bill. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Kaluza. Honorable Kaluza. Thank you. Honorable Tele, JN.
Thank you, Chair. JN Tele support the bill. Thank you.
Honorable Ntombela. Thank you, Honorable Tele. Honorable Mpepetwa, Honorable Kwala. Honorable Gunene.
I support the bill.
Thank you. Honorable Kiliza.
Chairperson, I support the bill.
Oh, thanks, Pepet. Honorable Kiliza. Honorable Rabi.
Thank you, Chairperson. I support.
Thank you. Honorable Pagati. Thank you. I was told Honorable Pagati had a problem with the connection, but I think the majority of Starkov do support the bill, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kabasha and the team of Starkov. Now we are coming, SPA, to the presentation of the Finance Portfolio Committee report that will have to be tabled in the House immediately when the Speaker resumes the sitting. Can you project it, Mr. Chile, so that we all go through it?
Yes, Chair.
Oh, yes, where's the conclusion, Chile? Where is the introduction? Thank you very much, Honorable Chile. The first paragraph is speaking to the presentation that was made by the MEC this morning, and on this bill and the accompanying schedules and papers that came with it in terms of the rule of the legislature as outlined there. The second paragraph is talking to rule number 240 subsection 1A on the call for the public involvement. And we are indicating that we did not do that process because the bill was done this morning. But we hope that our people got through the live stream of the social media platforms and they were able to follow what is going on. But there's this thing that we did not advertise it as we normally do due to the time frames. We want to apologize to the members of the public, and we are under these tight schedules. Otherwise, we are closing the financial year tomorrow. So on the question of the support of the bill, we are writing clearly that the bill was unanimously supported. Even Nombomvu ugcine sengithembile umfowethu ukuthi hayi ngeke ngimfake ehlathini noma be cautious. So that's what the report that is going to be tabled to the House is all about. I want to check from the members of the Finance Portfolio Committee if there is any mover and seconder of this report to be tabled in the sitting immediately. But thereafter, once we have adopted it, we'll request Kabasha to take over and then deal with his report of the Standing Committee on Oversight. I see the hand, but I can't see the name of the person whose hand is up. Can you shout, my leader?
Honorable Chairperson, it's Honorable Rajbansi. I just wanted to check the fact that Stakov was present at this meeting. I don't know whether we mentioned them anywhere in this report.
No, that's why I said immediately after you as Finance Portfolio Committee have adopted the report, and then we'll hand over to the chairperson of Stakov so that they process their own report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I thought you are moving for the adoption of this report, Honorable Thakur Rajpans.
Yes, Honorable Chair, then I move for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my leader. And then is there any seconder for the adoption of the report of the Finance Portfolio Committee to be tabled in the House very soon?
Honorable Zulu Chair, second.
Thank you very much, Makeba. The report is seconded and adopted. Now we are requesting Kabasha to take over his own part.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi, and greetings to honorable members. I will quickly give it to for our report to give us a report Umpoetu Zatembiso Mzuza, so then we'll be able just to go through quickly, and then after I will ask for input from members from the report that we will be just be given. Thank you. Can we then proceed? Let me just give it over to Umpoetu Unzuza just to take us through the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members. The report of the Standing Committee is taking into account the meeting that took place today jointly with the Finance Committee. And the committee notes that the province as a whole is undergoing budget pressures, which continue to require reprioritization by the government departments and the legislature in order to relieve, to some extent, the existing pressures. The portfolio committees are therefore called upon to play even closer oversight on how these pressures are being managed by the departments, so that any fruitless and wasteful expenditures are totally eliminated. It was noted that the legislature is not receiving any adjustments through the second adjustments appropriation period. And the recommendation is noting the financial pressures that the legislature continues to experience. The legislature is called upon to continue exploring means to ensure that the existing budget is used efficiently and effectively. And lastly, the Standing Committee on Oversight therefore supports the bill and recommends that it be adopted by the House. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mshazi. To our honorable members, I think here is our report. Can I then have input from our members if we support this report? Can we then have any input from our members? Honorable members, stack of members.
Supported, Sal, on my side.
Thank you, Honorable Kunene.
Chairperson, I second Honorable Gunen.
Thank you. Then it is seconded. Therefore, it is our report that we are going to table into the House. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Klabash and the whole team. And I think we have come to the end of this meeting and we will be ready for the debate. I hope you are going to have some few minutes to prepare for your debate, especially after this clear presentation that was made by Tanya and the MEC. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, welcome back, and we will now proceed with the debate on the KwaZulu-Natal Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2023. Now I'll call upon the first speaker to take the podium. That is Honorable Sinkosi, the Chairperson of Finance, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me this opportunity to present the report on behalf of the Finance Portfolio Committee so that I don't get disrupted by the sound, by the system. Can you allow me to switch off the video because you are realizing that it is KK Nkosi who is tabling this report on behalf of the Finance Portfolio Committee. Are you allowing me, Honorable Speaker? I see the time running away.
I was thinking because you stole my 10 minutes, but I'll allow you because you are Masbari.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Spa, can you assist me with the projection? Can you assist me with the projection, my Spa? Are you not able to, Secretary of the Finance Portfolio Committee, are you not able to come through? Speaker, it seems as if the Secretary of the Finance Portfolio Committee is unable to project the report on my behalf. Thank you very much, Honorable Spa. We want to indicate that the KwaZulu-Natal Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2023 was tabled in this House this morning by the MEC for Finance. And then this bill was accompanied by the number of papers and schedules in terms of the practice in this House. And then it goes according to the standing rule of the legislature when the Speaker referred it to both the Finance Portfolio Committee and STACOF. In accordance with Rule 240, subsection 1A of the standing rules, the Provincial Treasury briefed the Finance Portfolio Committee on this bill this morning. In accordance with Section 118, subsection 1A of the Constitution of the Republic, the committee must facilitate public involvement in the legislative process. Due to the stringent time frames in respect of this bill, the briefing on the bill by Provincial Treasury this morning was live streamed on social platforms such as the Finance Portfolio Committee Facebook and the KZN Legislature Twitter feed, the Instagram and its YouTube pages, thereby promoting public access and involvement in the bill. Having considered the bill, the accompanying papers and reports, and after due deliberation this morning, the Finance Portfolio Committee, 11 members, that is 100%, unanimously supported the bill. I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. The next speaker will be the chairperson of StaffCorp, Honorable Tiving Kulu. For 5 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm not sure you also need me on the camera. Okay. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to honorable members. I'll be taking the committee through the report of the Standing Committee on Oversight on the consideration of the 2022-23 Second Adjustment Appropriation for the Legislature. This report is an oversight report reflecting the views of the Standing Committee on Oversight following the presentation and consideration of the Second Adjustment Appropriation relating to the Legislature Vote 2 and taking into account the briefing done by the Legislature and Treasurer at the joint meeting of STACOF and Finance Committee held on the 30th March 2023. The committee noted that the province as a whole is still undergoing budget pressure, which continues to require reprioritization by the government departments and the legislature in order to relieve, to some extent, the existing pressures. The portfolio committees are therefore called upon to play even closer oversight on how these pressures are being managed by the department so that any fruitless and wasteful expenditures are totally eliminated. The issues raised regarding the provincial legislature are as follows. It was noted that the legislature is not receiving any adjustment through this second adjustment appropriation bill, and the recommendations are noting the financial pressures that the legislature continues to experience. The legislature is called upon to continue exploring means to ensure that the existing budget is used efficiently and effectively. The Standing Committee on Oversight, therefore, supports the bill and recommends that it be adopted by the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ulu. We are now going to get a debate on the bill, starting with the first speaker from the African National Congress, Honorable M.A. Zulu, for 7 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, can you allow me to come in? I think your table did not affect the amendments to the Speaker's list, and it is my own understanding that currently the first speaker is Honorable Mjali.
Your speaker is not unmuted, Honorable Speaker. You are not audible, please.
Oh, thank you, Honorable Duma. What I'm saying that on my list, I've got Honorable M.A. Zulu. Maybe the Chief Whip may assist to verify what Honorable Kosi is saying about the amendments.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, we are trying to verify that amendment. We didn't know that you might have two different lists. I don't know what might have happened.
So how long do we have to wait?
Just 1 minute, Honorable Speaker.
Please.
Lonke into the
Okay, no, I'm just receiving a corrected list here. I don't know what happened with the officials. They gave me the unamended list. The amended list do have T.S. Mjali for 7 minutes.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier and your executive, all the honorable members, please receive my greetings. Firstly, Honorable Deputy Speaker, let's applaud all the departments for spending the budget for 2022-2023 as they've done well
This shows our commitment to our people in bringing service delivery to them. This was demonstrated, Speaker, by the receipt of windfalls of about 19.3 million of the National Health Insurance Fund, which emanates from the poor spending of the grant by other provinces. By the way, Honorable Speaker, this includes the godly claim to be well-run Western Cape, whom failed to also spend this fund. As a result, we're benefiting from it, while our people in the Western Cape are suffering. And now and again, we are shouted at, being told how well it's run. But now today, we can prove that that is not true. Furthermore, we must then commend the Department of Transport, Makuchwa, for being able to spend this grant in our province. An amount of about 8.6 million of this grant came to us as a result of the failure to spend by the Western Cape government. This must be applauded, Honorable Speaker. As we've congratulated Makuchwa by this, it is important also to reflect that we are congratulating you as well, Honorable Mahlaba, the MEC of Human Settlements, because your department has also received an amount of 6.3 million towards the Provincial Emergency Housing Grant that the ANC government. This proves as well that the ANC government is a government at work. Honorable Speaker, it has always been the trend that KZN will always receive additional money in the form of adjustment appropriation bills, year in and year out. It must be commended by this because it shows that we're able to deal with our finances, especially the spending of our finances. Therefore, we must salute all our departments for ensuring that no cent left to the National Revenue Fund. The Finance Portfolio Committee, what is important is that it would like to see the adherence to the PFMA in the spending of funds to avoid irregular expenditure. This is on a basis that we're fully aware that all of us had to ensure that these funds that are directed go directly to the ground to assist our people, to provide the service delivery, as we emanate and trying to ensure by all means that we change the lives of our people. This is a well-balanced bill which reflects the needs of our people. It is important, therefore, Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, to indicate that the African National Congress support this second adjustment appropriation bill. And before I conclude, allow me to quote one of our leaders, Walter Sisulu, who once said, "It is a law of life that problem arises when conditions are there for their solutions," close quote. The African National Congress remain the only political organization that understands the challenges of our people, but not only just it understands, but it has the necessary solutions that it responds to those challenges of our people. As we continue to this journey, we are adopting this budget with a clear understanding that our focus is to intensify service delivery, continue the journey that we have long started with our people of changing their life. Remember our call, it has always been a better life for all, not just for one person, but a better life for all. As we continue to advance the struggle, allow me to thank you, Speaker.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Shabangani. We are now moving to the second speaker from the IFP, Honorable M. Kaula.
Honorable members, the Inkatha Freedom Party welcomes the KwaZulu-Natal Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2023 with the following comments. The IFP accepts that the Department of Education has continuously suffered enormous budget pressures, intensified by the budget cuts that province has been subjected to for the past 3 years as a result of reprioritized spending by National Treasury due to COVID.
Honorable Kaula, we cannot see you. Honorable Kaula, asikwazi ukukubona.
Usibambile isikhathi sami mina lona wesomlomo.
Sizosibamba kodwa wena wenze le nkinga.
Thank you. This has tremendously affected the ability of the department to spend accordingly on the employment of educators and other necessary personnel. Further to this, the destruction of schools by the violent protests of 2022 in the province and further damage to schools caused by the outbreak of floods put a further strain on the financial capacity of the department. The IFP has repeatedly appealed to the powers that be to ensure that the Department of Education is and be assisted with additional funding. Therefore, additional funding allocated to Vote 5 for 2022-23 financial year is welcome. Whilst acknowledging that there are pressures relating to the provision of adequate health care to the people of KwaZulu-Natal, the IFP, however, calls for proper administration of funds that are allocated to this department. The IFP calls upon the political head of this department to ensure that there is efficient and professional utilization of funds in this department in order to maximize value for money, which is so far wanting at health. The IFP is concerned that towards the end of the 2020-21 financial year, a similar report was tabled to the House by then MEC for Finance, Honorable Nomusa Dube-Ncube, claiming that some departments were projecting underspending and were thus surrendering funds back to Treasury for reallocation to the departments that were projecting overspending. The IFP supported this in good faith then. It later appeared that some departments had not just voluntarily surrendered funds because of a so-called reported projected underspending, but were coerced and forced to do so by those in power then. One hopes that will not be subjected to a repeat of that scenario in these reported surrenders. The IFP remains concerned that the Department of Transport is surrendering funds again because of a projected underspending. This is not acceptable. Whilst the state and condition of many roads remain this terrible in the province, the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Transport continues to fail to spend funds allocated to it in order to assist the people of KwaZulu-Natal with better and improved roads to limit dangers of road carnage. Such behavior by this department will always remain cause for concern as unacceptable and unnecessary. The shenanigans that took place at social development during COVID and the slap in the wrist punitive measures that were meted to the culprits by this department are still fresh in our minds. Some of the investigations in respect of those who defrauded COVID funds in this department remain incomplete. Hence, we are forced to say that any report of shortfall reported by this department to Treasury must be treated and handled with care because they have proven that they cannot be trusted. Going forward, we therefore call upon the Provincial Treasury to closely monitor any additional allocations to social development. Be that as it may, the IFP welcomes additional funds to the province from the National Fiscus in order to ease pressures of those departments that are honestly and sincerely experiencing pressures in order to service the needs of the people of our province. I thank you, Somlomo Nabahlonishwa.
Thank you, Honorable Kaola. We are now moving to the speaker from the DA, Honorable Rabe, for 4 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, Honourable Speaker, fellow honourable members, ladies and gentlemen. The Democratic Alliance supports the second adjustment appropriation bill of 2023 for the 2022-23 financial year, but with reservations. Sadly, the reprioritizing of funding in KZN comes as no surprise. Nothing will change in our province because the current government has no solutions to the current financial crisis we are in. In fact, our province is hollowed out to the point that we are no better than an Easter egg. Pretty on the outside, no substance on the inside. It is concerning that there are still votes who are able to provide funding because they are still unable to fill their vacant posts or just by ignoring maintenance of infrastructure. Just look at where that has gotten us. But we keep doing it. By rolling over expenditure to the next financial year, it's not a solution. In fact, this is literally going to get to a point where departments find themselves completely dysfunctional. All our infrastructure has collapsed and the government on their knees. Whilst we welcome the conditional grant funding coming into the province, we are concerned that these will not be spent in accordance with the regulations. Be that as it may, the Democratic Alliance will continue to commit themselves to oversight over all departments. Honourable Deputy Speaker, only a capable and ethical provincial state can correct the hole we find ourselves in. The current government has proven that it cannot do the job. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Rabe. We're moving to the Speaker from EFF, Honorable N.N. Ngubane, for 3 minutes.
Uzothini.
Siya unmute Mbomv. Please. Unmute.
Greetings, Honorable Speaker. I hope you hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thanks very much. The EFF KwaZulu-Natal cautiously support the adjusted budget, even if it does not fully cover the budget pressures. We, however, note with concern that the Department of Transport was able to surrender 200 million due to slow spending in various road rehabilitation projects related to April 22 floods. Members of the House, when we talk about April 22 floods, we are not only talking about infrastructural damages, but we are talking about human lives and their constitutional rights to dignity. To date, our people are destitute as a result of these floods. Why not redirect the 200 million to building proper and sustainable houses for them instead of allocating them in Lindela camps under the inhuman conditions, as some do not even have proper ablution facilities? Other than the NHI grant of 19 million that has been allocated to KZN, it is a cause for concern that it doesn't show in this budget how the provincial government is prioritizing its budget toward health sector, which is on the brink of collapse as a result of these floods, which wreak havoc in our province. We further call upon the Premier to make sure that these surrendered budgets are not just promises, but must be implemented accordingly. Our role as public representatives is to exercise oversight by making sure that all that has been promised is implemented. As the EFF KwaZulu-Natal will continue cracking the whip so as to make sure that our people get services that they deserve. The time for promises is gone. We want action now. As the government in waiting, we will keep playing our oversight role in KwaZulu-Natal as we want to inherit a working province next year, 2024. Thank you very much.
Waiting government, Inganewan.
Thank you, Honorable Ngubane. We are now moving to the Speaker from NFP, Honorable CM Shinga, for 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to you and honorable members. The NFP acknowledges the second adjustment appropriation bill of 2023. We support the request to reallocate the budgeted funds from different departmental budgets to serve the victims of the April 2022 flood catastrophe, as well as the call to reallocate funds to departments that are under budget strain by seeding an aggregate total of 378.887 million. The NFP recommends the financial officers to administer these monies effectively and to guarantee that these funds can only be accessed for their intended use. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Shinga. We are now going to receive a speaker from the Minority Front, Honorable S. Takarwash Bansi, for 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Jai Shri Ram to all on this auspicious day of Ram Navami, celebrated worldwide by Hindus. A blessed Ramadan to the Muslim community, whilst we usher in the Easter prayers. Honourable members, with prayers and hard work, it is hoped that the deliberations of this Honourable House and other government structures, which have resulted in the shaping of the Second Adjustments Appropriation Bill 2023 for KZN, prevents KZN from going into overdraft. This situation will not bode well for KZN. Therefore, every portfolio committee has to take both SCOPA, Finance and the respective portfolio committee resolutions seriously to avoid delays, reprioritize funding as per resolutions, and budget and harness technology that brings innovation and income generating revenue benefits of a digital economy. The MF supports this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Takarash Pansi. We are supposed to receive a debate from ATM. Unfortunately, there have been an apology on the ATM that it could not speak because of the circumstances where he is, but he is connected. So we'll move straight to ACDP, Honorable S.E. Mangaile, for 1 minute.
Greeting you, Speaker, in the name of Jesus Christ. As ACDP, we accept and adopt the Adjustment Appropriate Bill with the hope that the proper implementation plan will be established and be followed well. The issues of service delivery, like the air conditioners in the hospital theaters, for example, the Queen Nandi Hospital, the issue of pothole, the issue of killing of our innocent souls, and more will be prioritized. Then with these few remarks, the ACDP has got no objection. We accept and adopt the bill.
Thank you, Honorable Mangaile. The speaker, we are now going to receive a speaker from the ANC, Honorable RZP Zulu, for 7 minutes.
Asibonge somndomo sibingelele, Madam Speaker, Makubeda, Deputy Speaker, Premier, members of the Executive Council, colleagues, members of staff, and public, I greet you all. Somlomo ngivumele ngizwakalise ukuzwelana kakhulu nomndeni wakaNtuli, umuzi wonkana wakaDukuza, kanjalo noKhongolose esifundeni sekaGizenga Mpanza region.
Can I disturb you, Honorable Zulu? You don't appear on the screen. Come.
I do so. No. I do so.
Siyambona thina, siyambona ukhona.
Bekuwumthetho. Bekuwumthetho bevela la kumina. Okay, Honorable Zulu, you can continue. I can see you now.
Sizwakalisa ke ukuzwelana nomndeni wakaNtuli nomuzi wonke wakaDukuza esifundeni sakaGizenga. Sisho ukuthi impela uwile umuthi omkhulu. Sibuhlungu kakhulu ke somlomo osukwini lanamuhla ukwazi ukuthi kusasa kuyoguqulwa isinqumo esathathwa abantu baseKing Cetshwayo kwi-public consultation process abathi bayakeseka ukuqanjwa kwegama lesakhiwo nomkhandlu obubizwa ngothungulu kuhlonishwe isilo uCetshwayo. I-double agenda siyibona ngamehlo kulezi zinsuku. Madam Speaker, we are pleased with the Treasury's proactive approach in engaging departments to reprioritize funds between the votes so as to relieve those that are in distress. This exercise will encourage all departments and entities to spend their budgets efficiently, economically, and effectively as per the dictates of the PFMA. It is worth mentioning that an amount found through this exercise is more than 378 million. This exercise leads to surrender of funds from the equitable shares and assist where needs are deep. We salute bravery of departments such as ATIA, Treasury, Sports, Arts and Culture, and Transport for their unselfishness to release money to help most needy departments which experience severe funding pressures. Through the recent 23-24 budget hearings, we could see that there are departments in distress which need urgent lifeline financially. These include departments of education, social development, and public works. We listened attentively to the plea made by these departments. So we do so being mindful of the fact that PFMA permits such movements of the funds. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, we boldly support all environments contemplated in this bill and urge this August House to support them without hesitation, because our assessment shows that they are permissible as per the PFMA. The revolutionary component of the African National Congress fully supports this second adjustment appropriation bill. Sibonge somlomo ithuba lokuthunywa umbutho wo-Chief Albert Luthuli kulesi sishayamthetho saKwaZulu-Natal. Siyasubmitha somlomo.
Thank you, Honorable Zulu. We are now going to receive a response by the MEC for Finance on KwaZulu-Natal Second Amendment, Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2023. Honorable NP Nkonyeni for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, let me start by expressing our gratitude as the Provincial Treasury to both committees, the Committee of Finance and STACOF, and to all members of the Provincial Legislature. Chair, indeed, we appreciate the fact that all political parties have actually supported this bill. With regards to what was raised by Honorable Kulu, we wish to indicate that during our budget presentation, when we were doing adjustments previously, we did indicate that we are allocating an amount of 100 million rands for the utilization by the provincial treasury, by the provincial legislature. And that again, during the forthcoming adjustments, we will look at what the provincial legislature is actually requested for with regards to voter education. We remember that they requested an amount of about 15 million rands for the purposes of voter education. We will be looking at that as the provincial treasury. Honorable Mjali, thank you very much for supporting the bill on behalf of the African National Congress. Indeed, provincial departments have been doing very well with regards to their financial performance. For instance, with regards to Department of Health, at some stage, we did indicate in the House that they have benefited from the health revitalization grant, as they have benefited now from unutilized funds from other provinces like your province of the Western Cape. So we really commend that. And again, the Department of Human Settlements has also benefited from the unallocated funds. Or to Honorable Kaula of the IFP, yes, we really appreciate that the IFP has supported the adjustments appropriation, second adjustment appropriation bill. And of course, as the provincial treasury, we will continuously monitor the utilization of the allocated budgets by provincial governments. We are mindful of the fact that with regards to this compensation of employees, we will definitely release the funding for the compensation for the purposes of paying salaries at any given time. So what we were reflected upon right now is never going to affect the COE in particular. And of course, the Department of Education has tried its best to also look at how can they manage the budget allocated to them. So we are highly appreciative of that. With regards to Honorable, I think it was Honorable Thakur Rajpansi, we appreciate the fact that we appreciate all your comments and also of supporting the budget. ATM, Honorable Shinga, thanks for supporting our budget. The appropriation bill, we really appreciate that. To Honorable Mangele, we say Amen, Ngalezana, Ipasigelihle, and we support, we also appreciate the support by Honorable Zulu. Indeed, Honorable Zulu will definitely make sure that we monitor all the environments. As we indicated earlier on, we are in a process of engaging the Executive Council members so that we all of us do monitor what is actually obtaining on the other side, on the administrative side. So, honorable members, let me take this opportunity on behalf of the Provincial Treasury team to express our sincerest gratitude to all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, honorable members. We have now come to the end of the debate on the Ubando or computer now. We have now come to the end of the debate on the KwaZulu-Natal Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2023. The House now needs to vote on the bill. So as per request of the Finance Portfolio Committee as well as the Staff Corp, I now put the question to the House, which is as follows. The KwaZulu-Natal Legislature agrees to approve the KwaZulu-Natal Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2023. As I indicated prior to the start of the debate, I will now go party by party to obtain the vote and thereafter check if any member wishes to record an individual vote. I'll therefore go party by party, starting with the IFP.
Mhlonishwa sekela likaSomlomo nabahlonishwa iqembu lenkatha yenkululeko lonke lewamukela umthethosivivinywa lo ochibiyela izimali zika 2023. Ngiyathokoza.
Thank you, IFP. The DA.
Thank you, Speaker. The DA supports.
Thank you, DA. EFF.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. The EFF, yes, indeed, we support, but yes, we also have to say, yeah, with caution, with all the reservations we have, but we support.
Thank you, EFF. NFP.
Honorable Speaker, I'm Honorable Shinga from the National Freedom Party. Siyakweseka ukuchitshiyelwa kulo mthetho wokusetshenziswa kweyimali ngo-2023. Ngiyabonga.
Minority Front.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Minority Front supports with the recommendations given. Thank you.
ACDP.
Somlomo baba. Inhlangano leyabazalwane abasindisiwe ACDP amakholo ikweseka 100% ibudget ebekiwe ebunhlonishwa. Ngiyabonga.
ATM, they said they could not speak where they are.
Honorable Speaker.
Oh, you're back.
We support.
Thank you. ANC. African National Congress.
Honorable Speaker, we do support the bill.
Thank you. Members, I have the votes of all parties. Is there any member who wishes to express an individual vote that is different from the party vote or to abstain? Apparently, there is none. Secretary, can I ask for the tally of the votes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The voting results are as follows. Votes in favor, 61. Votes against, no. Abstentions, no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Secretary. So the results are as follows. Vote in favor, 61. Vote against, 0. Abstention, 0. Honorable members, I therefore formally declare the results of the vote as follows. As vote in favor, 61, vote against, 0, and abstention, 0. And the ayes have it, which then concludes voting on the bill. Secretary, need to read the bill into the record.
The KwaZulu-Natal Second Adjustments Appropriation Bill 2023.
Thank you, Secretary. I think we have now concluded the voting process. Thank you very much, honorable members. The House is adjourned, Senator.
Athokoza Somlo.
Amakhola
Order.
wadlala amaphasika.
Mr. Speaker.
Athokoza Somlo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Nisibuyele
Honorable
nisive bese.
Speaker.
I'm inviting you,
Siyabonga mphathisi.
Ngiyanibuza Somlo. Athokoza.
Mmelezane. Amen.
Yebo, baba. Yes.
Iphi
Hayi, no,
budget
sokulungile.
Bishop Manqele sekwenza inzipho bo.
Silungile nobuso sishefe bo ngeke Bishop phasikeni sibe bahle.
Hayi, no, sizashefa.
Hayi,
Yeah.
Busy.